Hey guys, my name is Kevin and today I'm showing you my kinda budget Salamangreat deck profile. It's not how I personally would play the deck when I go into competitive events, but for locals and if you don't have that much money, I think this is a pretty fun deck still to play, and it's pretty decent because it plays a kind of grind game, but you can go for aggressive push and it varies its playstyles depending on the matchup you have, so you can learn very much from this deck. And you also you also can play different kind of playstyles. So I will show you one playstyle or like a basic playstyle to play, but and afterwards I can give you some examples what you also can play with this deck. I kinda threw this deck together and I wanted to play it at locals, but because of my movement into another apartment, I couldn't be part of all locals this week. That's also the reason why there are so little videos in the last time, but yesterday we finished moving, so I wanted to make a video today. I have a lot to do next week because we have to go to different buildings from the government because of the movement, but I hope next week I can play at our locals and I can make more videos for you, because I got my workspace done, and it's like a better workspace than I have ever had. So yeah, I want to make deck profiles and to make videos for you. But nevertheless, let's get started. This time I have no side deck. I have some recommendations what you can play in the side deck, but I will show them to you later. But you can change the side deck for whichever cards you have, or depending on your locals, what decks they are played. So let's get started with the main deck. We play one Gazelle. It's at 1. It's kind of the main card, but since it got to 1, you play or you learn to play without Gazelle. A lot of people forgot how this deck can work, so if you get really good with this deck, you can play without Gazelle, and Gazelle is like the only card, or you use Gazelle only as bait for hand traps, except Nibiru. Nibiru still hits this deck really hard, but you can use Gazelle as a bait for hand traps and then play your normal route to just play through hand traps, but one Gazelle, so it's just still a really good card. We play 2 Spinny because it's a budget version. You don't go second with this deck, you want to go first, so we play 2 Spinny because you want to draw it to play through hand traps. But if you go second, you can cut this to 1. We also play 2 because of Pot of Desires. We play 2 Foxes, and in the whole deck we play 6 normal summons. This is like a good number to have at least 1 in the starting hand. You can also play 5, which is like the optimal number, but I play 6 because I want the versatility, and for beginners, the 6th normal sum is good. We play 2 Jaguar, same reason, we want to go first, so we play 2 because this in the starting hand is also like a combo starter. If you have different or if you have other cards in hand. Also, this with Salamangreat Will is bonkers, so yeah, we play 2. And then 1 Falco because it's the recursion of the deck, and 1 I don't know how this card is, I think Foul, it's in English. It's a really good extender and a chain blocker. A lot of people forget this, and a lot of people forget the effect that you can get 1 Salamangreat card from your hand or from your field to the graveyard, and then you can target 1 set card with 1 set spell and trap, and he can't activate the card this turn. So if you play against Eldritch or back row, this is pretty nice. Then we play 1 Lady Debug. This is like it's a really good starter, and if it gets through, the combo is nice, but it's very or it can be affected very hard by hand traps, so I only play 1. Instead I play 3 Flame Buffalo, because even if this gets compulsed or shuffled into the deck, or if this in any kind of conclusion leaves the field, you can activate the effect. So even then you can just set this, and then if they run over it, you can just activate the effect and like get hand traps or maybe other cards for combo later on. Then we play the best extender of the deck, 3 Parallax Seed. You want to draw this card because this is like bonkers. And then we play one of, or I don't know how it's called in English, somewhat with snake, prohibition snake or something like this. Yeah, it's good against like a Dragoon or different kind of cards which are hard to out. So yeah, that's the only reason I play this card. To the spells, we play one Circle because it's one of the best spells, except next to Will. Will is Soul Charge, yeah, searchable Soul Charge, so it's really good. Also, if you draw this card, you can play 3 hand traps, and the 1 Sanctuary just for searching from the Bailings. Then through 3 Cyanide Minings, yeah, standard Cyber Searcher. 2 Pot of Desires. I would never play 3 in this deck because you want to draw the plus, or you want to at least like swap the card even if you draw the second from the first one, which happens. But nevertheless, you can never resolve 2. So yeah, 2 is fine. You have a lot of searches in the deck either way, so it's fine. We play Foolish. You can just Foolish like any Salamangreat monster you don't have in your graveyard. And then we play, because we play Desires, we play 2 Roar and 2 Roar and I don't know how it's in English. Oh man, today it's really hard. Really warm. Yeah, 2 Roar, 2... Oh, I don't know how this card is. You know this card. So yeah, just because of Desires, really good cards. And then we play 8 hand traps because this is like the amount you play so that you don't have more than 2 in the hand. So 3 Ash, it's standard in the deck, even though it's kind of expensive right now. It's in the deck if you bought the deck, so you will have it. I think this card is really good right now because a lot of cards, especially from the graveyard, and I'm really scared of Tribrigade Revolt. So yeah, that's the reason why I'm playing those. And for the last 2 cards, I play Nibiru. I don't know how good this card is against, for example, Dino and everything. I saw this running around even more, so maybe you could swap this for Impermanence, for the Scrap combo, or for Effect Veiler. Yeah, even then, I mean, the combo is still, yeah, you can't really hit that. You can play DD Crow instead for the Misk Engrave. That's also possible. Yeah, I don't know. You can change those 2 cards. You can also play like Caught by the Grave and something else. Yeah, you can change those, but for our locals, this is fine because we have a lot of Prankets players. Yeah, I like those. Okay, then for the extra Drake. Oh, change those extra deck. 3 Bailings. It's pretty good to have 3 if you start the deck and you can't really play a really good grind game, so yeah, 3 is good. And then we play 3 Wolf. It's the main card of the deck, so you have to play 3. And then 2 Heat Leo, just because yeah, the shuffle cards back is pretty nice. Yeah, 1 Update Gemma, 1 Transcode Talker. Because we have no Stelio anymore, you are not locked into fire, so those became really good because this one specials it back, and then you can activate the effect for the 4th card or for the next card you will summon. So this is only like climbing up. This is why I play 1 Splash Mage 2. You can go from Link 2, special summon this back, get into Transcode. So yeah, right, get into Transcode. Transcode shuffles, special summons this back, and then you have an automatic Link 4. Would be nice if you play Access Code Talker, but I didn't include it, or yeah, I didn't include it into the deck because it's really expensive right now. So yeah, this is the only reason. If you have Access Code Talker, this deck becomes like 30 to 40% better. It's really, or it's yeah, it's the impact is heavy that Access Code Talker has into this deck. Instead, I play the Borderload Dragon. It's good because you can steal 2 of the monsters with Update Gemmer, because you can use Update Gemmer to make this card take twice, and it's not like a once per turn. So for example, you can get their Dragoon, get something else, you can run over stuff, and you can activate Dragoon's effect to get damage on their life points. Yeah, different kind of abilities this card have. This should be a Linguribo, not a Linkuribo. For the traps, I have one, but I lent it to a friend, so instead, like, this is a Linguribo. Then Abyss Dweller, I think, is right now the best rank 4 you can play, because it hits like a lot of decks. It hits Dinos, it hits Prankits, it hits Dragon Link a little bit, it hits it's called Dry Brigades, so yeah, pretty good. And then yeah, I had one spot left. I didn't include the card into here yet. You can play Firewall, you can play different kinds of Link 4s, you can play Ningirsu, but what I also want to consider is playing Rafflesia and then the Trap Hole, because this can stop Nibiru. But I think right now in the current meta game, Nibiru will be cutted from at least their main decks, so this card becomes less important. Yeah, you can change this to whatever you want. And for the side deck, like I said, it's only some recommendations you can play in this deck, because depends on your locals. You can play like Drawn Lockbirds, it's fine. You can play Impermanence if you have the cards. You can play evenly. You need in your side deck, you need, I forgot the third one. You need side deck cards against back row, because you don't play Cosmic Cyclones or anything. So like I just said, Cosmic Cyclones, for example, would be good too. You can play a third Nibiru if you want. Prankotops is always a good side deck card. Yeah, against combo decks you need this card, because then you can shuffle the cards or their monsters back, or make them make their attack 0. Like I said, for example, this with Access Code Talker is bonkers, because you can pop like 2 to 3 cards and then run over the 4th, so their monsters will die. This one is an extender. You can play it into the main deck or side deck if you want to extend going first. Then you can play Phantasme. Phantasme fixes your hand. Sometimes you brick, even though it happens very rarely, but sometimes you brick. And in a link heavy format, maybe you could play this. And this is like I said, Called by the Grave, also an example. What I meant by different routes is this route is like a pretty standard variant, so you play like your standard grind game Salamangreat stuff, you can go for a push and then play some hand traps. I saw variants where you play like your standard Salamangreat stuff, but like for example only one Spinny, only one Jack Jaguar, you cut the desires, and then you play a pretty heavy trap loaded kind of deck, because traps are really traps are the cards that have a high impact on their own. For example, you can play Needle Sealing very well in this deck, because you can always summon 2 monsters, so Needle Sealing is almost always live, and even though your cards get back to the graveyard, this deck is graveyard reliant, so you can just get them back and make your board again. It has a very good and long grind game, but it can OTK easily, so yeah, I think like trap heavy variant would also be possible. I just took those because those were the cards who I had next in my deck box. Like I said, you can play a pretty heavy trap reliant deck, or you can play a really good going second variant. One of in the past like 4 weeks topped with it, with a going second variant. Then you need only like 1 will, 1 rage, or you cut the desires, and then you just play more hand traps and try to kill like turn 4 and turn 2. So in your first turn you try to make access code talker with 1 back row and pop their whole board. Your 1 back row should stop their follow-up, and then on your turn, because you gain follow-up because every card in your graveyard is a follow-up, you can just OTK then. Yeah, this is like the strategy you can go. I think it's a pretty nice deck. Tell me what you think about it, and yeah, I will try it at our next locals, I guess. See you later.